Hi there, welcome to Carcassonne. It's a 2-day with Taiwan Tutejšyja. Had to think a second there. And I didn't even put my setup in order. So please bear with me for a moment here. Both these teams definitely would welcome a win today. So Tutejšyja has lost their only game so far last week versus Croatia, and it was a nail biter. Pretty close game, as you can see on the right side. So here we are, 2-3, but 7-7 games. So it could have been the other way around. And that's exactly why they still have a good chance here in this group. It's quite close, as you can see up top. And if Tutejšyja manages to win today versus Taiwan, there's still a lot of hope for them even to get to the first place, because Croatia might as well lose next week versus Taiwan or in week 5 versus Belgium. And more or less the same is true for Taiwan as well. If they'd manage to win today, they'd have 2 match wins in 3 matches and would just need to win their match versus Croatia in week 4 to quite likely snatch one of the 2 top places in this group with 3 match wins out of 4 matches. But we'll see if this will work for one of them. For now, let me change the scoreboard here a bit. We don't need a big one like that, actually. And I forgot a tiny character which is essential for this to work. So here we go. Now Taiwan has a flag, Tutejšyja hasn't, because there's no Tutejšyja emoji. So this doesn't work for them. I'll cover the duel between Penguin EM and Gladki Alex. So let's check. And they are already, they are still waiting. And now just have started. As you should be accustomed to, I'll open the other matches, the other duels rather, in the tiny windows in the corners. And for now, let's get rid of the standings. Another thing, oh damn it, sorry folks, I was a bit under time pressure here today. So now the colors should work as intended. So the home team, in this case Taiwan, should be yellow on all tables if they then start. Because for now we are missing table 1 and 4. Why are there no players there? Well, they are now. Finally. Well, I'll check table 4 in a few minutes again. So for now, this looks quite good for yellow here. Has 2 monasteries, even though There are already 12 points on the scoreboard, 8 for Gladki Alex and 4 for Pension. She takes now the field in the middle. Gets obstructed here, but with all 3 daggers still in the game, this should work out. This here I'd normally not do, but in a case where blue's road sticks into this city, that's definitely okay. I would refrain from that because 2 of the left-handed daggers were already gone. So I guess blue would have blocked here anyway, but just didn't get the chance. If you wanna attack this, why not put the city piece to the left side? There are already quite a few city plus road pieces gone. Well, gets the perfect piece here, taking 2 points, killing yellow's monastery meeples. So blue will have meeple majority in this game in the long run, or at least for the foreseeable future. And this definitely is bad news for yellow, because if this field will grow, it's quite likely blue will take this over. And then yellow would have to counter all the points on this field by other means. Even if these 2 monasteries would score 16 points in the end, losing the field, which well could easily grow to, let's say, at least 15-18 points, might just not be enough in the end, but we'll see. So let's check if other tables are faster than this one, and right now it doesn't look that way. Blue prevents yellow's most hopeful feature from being closed easily. Now it's only the question whether blue will be able to score points with their meeple majority. One crucial development was this piece up top, the square up top, because there is of course no third road monastery in the deck. So at least this farmer is stranded there for, well, at right now 0 points, but blue quite likely will hope to add more cities up top. Now they attack from the left side. Still good chances to connect there, unless of course yellow gets a curve to kill this square, which they quite likely would do in a heartbeat. But blue snatches the easy 8-point road, the 8-point city from yellow, and even expands this to 12 points. And now this looks quite good for blue here. Sure, there are these 14 points and 9 points for field, but that's definitely not enough if you're behind by 20 on the scoreboard and your opponent has all the meeples he need in hand and a 6-point field on top of that. So blue is likely gunning to connect here and then attack this field some way. Now just preventing yellow from being able to close this small city here. Yep, and here we go. There is another attacking route for blue, and even if that wouldn't work out, at least they'd have a 6-point or at least a 6-point field in the end, because this here is quite likely to be closed. Yep, blue connects. Yellow couldn't do a lot about this. Could have gone here to complicate the connection, maybe even block this to a dagger or a rose. But yellow just did go for the 3 points. Didn't want to put the road end there, so that in the worst case blue would have connected, for example, with a road Dorito and would have gotten the additional 5 points for this road as well, because then it might have been just game over. So what's to do here for yellow? Well, of course, closing your cities, hoping to prevent blue from closing this one, but that's really quite tricky. And of course, getting a curve here would help. So far, blue gets the curves. And prevents, or at least harasses, yellow's best feature. And there are still, well, really not much Doritos out there. I think only one. Yeah, so only one Dorito left, no splitter left. And in that way, this normal configuration just doesn't work. Now that blue just connected to the main field from the left side and has taken this one over, yellow, of course, has to immediately try and use any options to reconquer this one, because without the main field, or at least a tight main field, yellow has no chance in this game. Their problem is this connection really doesn't work, because there is a farmer on the right side by blue as well. So now the question is, do you go here or here and hope to connect and then kill this option? Or do you do what yellow just did and just attack on the left side? There is still one left-handed dagger remaining to connect there. These are the 2 daggers on the board. The other 3 are right-handed ones. And of course, there's this option with another curve or straight. You could connect there as well. And because all right-handed daggers are gone, yellow just really can't use the rose here now else they might go all in on the 50-50 here, but that's not an option now. So just taking 2 points it is. But for now, with 31 points on the scoreboard, the lead for blue seems quite insurmountable. Let's actually check. So yellow has 27 on the scoreboard, blue has 58. And yellow's city at the bottom is worth 7 points. Their shared city up top is worth 8 points. Yellow's monasteries score 8 and 7. Blue's one scores 6 points. The small field on the right side for blue scores 3. Yellow's small field on the left side 3 now as well. And the one in the middle 2. And then there's the main field, which right now belongs to blue. And this one scores 21 points for now, but blue just added another great option to connect the third farmer to this field. At least yellow got the second one there, tied the main field. And their city at the bottom now is worth 8 points, but still that's a difference of quite a lot. And if they manage to close this city though, this could still be a game. So I said there's still one left-handed dagger remaining. There is no rose remaining, and there's no starting tile remaining. And you know then that this here would kill this option completely. I guess blue's counting, trying to figure out which way to put the curve here. Maybe the other orientation, no, the other orientation wouldn't work, because then yellow would have at least the dagger left, and in fact that's the only option, because all vanillas and both the diagonal and vertical splitters are already gone. Yeah, they snatch another 4 points up top. This here doesn't really do much for yellow. Not even sure if there's still a curve left. No, there wasn't. So in the end, roughly 30 points for blue here. Let's quickly check if there's another interesting game running. Well, let's take a look at Stephen Chung versus Watzimir. Looks to be in blue's favor. Unless there's still a crossroad left and a vanilla to connect here to this main field. But even then, with the scoreboard lead of 9 points plus these 6 points here, and well, roughly 6 points, or rather exactly 6 points in yellow's favor. So all these are equal. But even if yellow were to get this here and that, well, they'd score points. So let's check the vanillas. Is the most crucial piece, and there are still 2 even out there, if I haven't miscounted. This position indicates that this was the last crossroad, else blue might have just gone here to prevent this attacking route. Let's be sure and count the crossroads. Yep, all gone. So this square in fact is dead. And the best yellow could hope for would be getting the vanilla now to at least take this 9-point field. But it doesn't do them a lot of good, because on the other side of town there is the blue farmer occupying a 12-point field, which outscores your field. Now that blue has taken this 6-point field here, they should be ahead by roughly a dozen points. So let me open the Penguin EM game in the top right. No, let's use the bottom left corner. And then Yuhai Hanemi Tio Hot's second game is in the upper right corner, where they played their first game as well. Vladimir thinking whether they should attack the field on the left side. This is their penultimate move and their last meeple. Not even sure it's necessary to do anything about this. I don't think I have grossly miscounted here. So I'd say don't put a farmer there. But it looks like no, all monasteries are gone. Well, what's left in there? It's the Dorito and one of the vanilla caps. And I think a vertical divider. No, vertical dividers are gone as well. No crossroads. How about curves? All curves are gone. So in fact, Vladimir could have attacked here and would have had a 66% chance of connecting to the main field, not the main field, to yellow's field on the left side here. Because at least these 2 tiles would have let him connect there. And what's then left? What's the last piece? Well, I'm too slow. It's a Rotorito. Well. So in the end, not 10 points. I guess a tad below 10 points for blue. 7 points. Okay, close enough. Hotly just won their first game versus Ebucks, and at least was able to put the second win on Taiwan's match scoreboard. So considering all games are in their second now, all duels are in their second game now, let's switch back to Penguin EM versus Gladkey Alex, and let's see if Penguin manages to force a decider here. For now, at least it looks like she'll need to snatch this city from blue, and chances are quite okay. Of course, you need both Rotorito, but there are still 4 out there, and a big city tile, of which are still 5 left, although you'd rather not use the market square there. A horse or cow would quite likely be the preferred piece. Yeah, this placement by yellow is a bit passive. They could have gone over here, but they didn't, because 2 of the left-handed daggers are already gone. But even then, maybe considering this placement and creating a monastery square. The problem with this though is you'd create an open city cap for your opponent to take, and that's a move you'd rather prevent, or at least try to complicate a bit by putting this open city cap next to road like yellow just did. And now yellow was forced to limit both the attacking options here. 2 big city tiles, at least both versions, so they need 1 horse and 1 cow. Still 75% chance for each one, but combined it's just a tad over 55% to get at least one of both. Not the best hopes here, but at least a bit better than a 50-50 flip. The problem though is that 2 of your meeples are bound here for a long time. Best news for them, market square was discarded, and so at least they snatched the starting player advantage from blue. 1 cow is gone, so only 1 piece to go over here. And a 50-50 plus, oh well, don't even have to do any math. The 4th cow is gone, this square is dead, and the best yellow could hope for would be to at least tie this ruin and snatch 2 points for the road. Now they did go for 3rd monastery, and if they manage to put anything here, this could still work out for them. But if blue would manage to kill this square. Well, it would look pretty terrible for yellow in this game. Yeah, and on the contrary, blue liberates their monastery meeple first. Has snatched a field at the bottom, but also their monastery meeple there won't see the light of day in this game, because this already is the second road monastery. But actually, that really doesn't matter for them. Just drawing the 2 cows to prevent this city from being closed by yellow could have been all they needed to win this one. Well, let's hope for yellow that they get a city plus 2 field sides piece quite fast here. The chances though aren't great, because all 5 vanilla caps are already gone, and 3 field Doritos plus 1 diagonal splitter as well. So in fact, for this square there are only 3 pieces left in the deck. Still a good chance to get one, sure, but you might have to wait way too long to use the 2 meeples which are blocked for now. At least they got to connect here and equalized the ruin. Blue takes a second field up top. So more or less the features on the board are roughly equal. So blue scores 16 points at the bottom plus 6 up top, which is 22. And yellow scores 22 on the left side. So overall the difference is more or less just what's on the scoreboard now, and that are just these 8 points. Both exchanging quick points. Of course, blue takes the 4 for this city. Hopes maybe to still put something there to score 1 extra point for the monastery and add this city to their field as well. And if yellow doesn't get their liberation tile for the monasteries on their next move, I don't see any way for them to still have a chance in this game. They need to tie this field at the bottom. Let's take the scoreboard out again. So blue city in the middle scores 4 points. The ruin scores 10 for both. And yellow city part there scores 1. Yellow has no fields right now. Blue's fields score 6, 9, and another 6 points. So that's here is the game winner. It's just, even if yellow now snatches 5 points and liberates their monasteries, there is no chance for them to win here. So overall 18 points. I haven't missed anything. And there's just no way. So let's check. Blue just dumps this piece, secures the field up top, so no invasion from the left. Not even sure that's necessary. Yeah, and I think it doesn't matter what yellow now does with their piece. It's only scoreboard cosmetics, so let me just switch to another game. And Yuhai Hanemi Tiro Hot, I'm not sure. Looks promising. And if you care for the exact outcome of Penguin EM's game versus Gladky Alex, have a look at the top right corner. So let's assess the score here. Yellow has 41 on the scoreboard, blue 44. And they share a city over here. I guess there's no starting tile left to attack this, as the 9 points could be interesting. There are no other features except for the huge field here. And let's first off score the farmers that are already on this field, and I count 5 yellow ones and 5 blue ones, but the problem for blue is these two aren't connected yet. They still need a curve here, or curve, or a road monastery, which isn't present in the deck anymore. So a curve and another road piece over there to connect. And if blue were able to manage that feat, they'd win the game because they have the lead on the scoreboard, and that's exactly why yellow goes over there and will try to connect. Yeah, the points don't do anything for blue. Now Yuhai Hanemi might just connect, or might just not do anything, depending on whether this is the last curve or not. Yeah, so let me count again, just to be sure here. Yeah, so still one curve remaining, and that's why yellow connected to this tiny field by blue. Because once blue connects here, then at least yellow would still own the big field. Their problem though might be that these 12 points plus the scoreboard lead plus a few more points maybe might work out for blue. Let's check. For now, blue has a 12-point field, and the main field is worth, I think, 10 cities. It looks like 10. Okay. So I don't see blue scoring enough points to outrun the main field. And then the question is whether they would then need to draw the curve and find another attacking option. For example, this here could work. Maybe there's an option here. In some cases, even this here. Let's actually check. So if they'd go here, they need a rose or starting tile, and all these are gone. So this option, at least with rose or starting tile, is dead. This could work like this, but that actually doesn't help them because they need the curve here as well. And all the right-handed daggers are gone as well. What else is out there? Yeah, of course, there would be an option like this, but then you'd need a curve to connect as well. Or maybe a dagger, but these 3 daggers are gone. And of course, it's risky as hell, because more or less anything could block here. Yeah, so maybe ninja attack here. Hoping to get a curvy piece and the curve. What about curvy pieces then? There is still one road to left. What about crossroads? The roses are gone. And all other crossroads as well. So this might be the move. At least this would still have a chance to connect. Whereas this move won't help you. Although, if they would have gotten the curve now, they would have scored 8 points. Yeah, but still. So let's, for example, just add that. Yeah, it's just not enough. Definitely not enough. The 1 point for both with the Dorito here doesn't matter. And now that blue has only 1 move remaining, it actually is over. So if they would have found this move here, they now could have connected with the road Dorito and would then still have a curve to connect and tie, to connect to and then tie the main field. But they didn't found this, and I sincerely hope that there's still a curve left, else all my blathering was just nonsense. But here we go, there's the curve, and there even was a second curvy piece out there. So this here wasn't actually that bad. And indeed might have been the only chance for blue. in this game. Now let's hope the scoreboard. Yeah, where did blue score 7 points? Up top, the city. Did they score this one? Yeah, I think they scored this one. But that's just cosmetics. Doesn't help them win the game. So this here would have totally worked, even though, of course, the chances aren't really that great. So getting the curve plus another curvy tile. When there are 2 curvy tiles out there and 1 curve, well, not that likely. Not sure if anyone cares about the percentages. Let's just check. So 4 pieces remaining. Player A was yellow because they were the ones next up. And player B was blue and they needed, well, a tool can't even calculate that. Well, for now, let's do it like this and let's check. So player B, which is in this case blue, needs 2 pieces of B and C. Is this really true? So they had a 50-50 shot here. Let's think a second about this. Yeah, this might actually be true. Well, interesting situation. I definitely have to check that one out and push it to Cookie's top Carcassonne page. So on table 5, Gladkey Alex was able to win versus Penguin EM. Swept her even with 2-0. But Juicy Ray on table 4 responded in kind by sweeping Chica Bomb as well. And so we have this decider and 2 other close games. Let's quickly check Hotly versus Evax. Or maybe even Steven Chang Vatsimir, because Vatsimir still has a minute left on the clock. But just now found the move to execute. And I guess Steven Chang will just take 4 points with this monastery. Let's see. Yep, a sweep by Vatsimir. So Tutejšyja takes a 2-1 lead. And then let's switch to maybe the deciding moves of this match here. And of course, let me open Yuhai Hanemi's game in the top left corner. Their decider running now. So this here, Evax only has 50 seconds on the clock left, still 2 moves to execute. And at least he prevents the worst fate. So with 42 seconds still left, quite likely no loss on time here. This large ruin is yellows. And it scores 16 points. Yep. Yellow has a monastery, blue a field at the bottom. And the main field is yellows. blue adds 5 points, but with the field, this will be yellow's game quite likely. The field is worth 28 points. Yeah, this should be yellow's game then. Which is good news for all neutral viewers, because then we have a decider, not just in the duel between Yuhai Hanemi and Tirot, but just for the match as well. And in that case, we might just switch the layout a bit here. So for one, let's put the standings there, and then let's take this one. Well, let me actually switch that. This works better. Yeah, this looks nice. So then I can just move the scoreboard around a bit here, and we should be ready to go. Blue just liberated both these monasteries. Not sure that even was in their interest. Because for now it looks like they have to feature the features that are more easily liberated. But considering their field is under attack, having all the meeples you might need for this field fight is definitely not a bad idea, and I didn't even see the scoreboard difference of 19 points. So if yellow manages to close this city, they might not even need the field. Both splitters are gone, so right now no easy attack on this city monstrosity. And with this curve, actually blue hampered themselves. Can't easily access yellow city to block it. Another attacking option here, but of course yellow just takes the 14 city points. Oh, well, this looks quite bad for blue. Best hope prevent yellow from closing the city on the left. Connect all the fields here. win the field then, of course. And you might have a chance, but right now I really don't see this. Let's actually score this. So yellow's field right now scores 6 points, blue's little field on the left side 3, their main field 15, their monastery 8, yellow's monastery 6, and the tied city / ruin on the right side scores 8 points for both. There we have it. Even though blue owns the main field, they are 15 points behind. And how would you counter this? You need big features. And only 2 monasteries left. Well, if you hadn't played this here, this would be a pretty nice square for road monastery, although with the city on this side of the road here, it might still be the best spot, considering there are also still 3 left-handed daggers out there. So left-handed dagger here, take the monastery there, take this city while also killing this square, or at least preventing yellow from closing this city. And then, of course, connect here as well to take the then 24-point field, because in addition to these 5, you'd have another 3 cities. Hi, Glovia. Yeah, glad you could manage it. Yeah, this might be an option for blue. I really don't see any other one. So now it's all about adding city caps to your field, maybe like this. Or rather going here and hoping. Yeah, well, yellow would have snatched the 8 points, but I guess if you have to risk it, why not? So yellow with another 3-point field, and even though blue manages to open not quite juicy city and still closable city at that, but it's a bit unwieldy. Need Doritos over here and another one, and some big city tile or multiple city caps, which you of course would rather put on your field. But actually right now there's not much room to put city caps there. Maybe glitter over here. Yeah, now he creates a sinister hamster there, hoping to connect here and killing this square. So to render yellow's farmer in the middle irrelevant once you would be able to connect here, but I'm not sure there are even enough curves out there. Doesn't look that way. Oops, sorry. That, my friends, was definitely a misclick. So yeah, basically to connect all these is just a 12.5% chance, because you need both curves and the road monastery. So this curve here I would have rather placed there and then just hoped to be able to block this, or put there's still a vanilla there. Not sure. No, the vanillas are gone. So yeah, it's sorry, but no hope. Really no hope for blue here. Unless I'm missing some sort of, I don't know, pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Oh, well, I missed one crucial thing. If blue were to put a curve here and the road monastery there, of course, this would be connected up top. So the chances are indefinitely better than this here. And therefore, it doesn't even matter that they created this evil hamster, which yellow quite likely would take, should take at least, because they need the monastery there, of course. So no big city piece left, and if yellow then would manage to add a city cap here or there, or any city piece for that matter, they'd kill this city. They aren't able to. But how about road Doritos? Still nope, none out there. So this here will die in a few seconds. Unless yellow decides to rather kill that one. But I think that even isn't a kill. It isn't. There's still one right-handed dagger out there. So let's update the scores here. Blue cities are worth 7 points now for the top one and 6 for the bottom one. Yeah, so Yuhaya Nemi, what will it be? That a kill? It is a kill. All 5 Doritos are gone, and all 4 cows as well. And the splitters are long gone. So interesting. Was it more likely for blue to close this city? All splitters are gone, all vanillas are gone. Well, I guess technically that's the right move. There is an extender, and if blue were able to close this city, this would add another city to their field, whereas if blue were able to close their city at the bottom, this would add another city to yellow's field. So a difference of 6 points in a yellow's favor. Yeah, tricky situation for blue. No meeple in hand. And oh, why did they go there? This here was the move. And then you just need to hope to either get the last curve if this wasn't the last one, which I think is the case, or get another piece to block this before yellow snatches the last curve. And this way, yeah, you could go here, but then if yellow would get any road piece they just go here. And your curve here would connect both your and yellow's meeple to the main field and keep this tight. Yeah. Well. Let's check again. 7, 8. Yeah, so still curve left. Oh, damn it. Yeah, thank you, Gluvia. Yeah, I deactivated the drawings of 5 or 10 minutes ago. When I switched the layout. Oh, damn it. So, yeah, normally I'd say blue has to go here, but then they definitely need to get a curve to connect here to this field. The problem though is that yellow just could put another farmer there, and if blue then were to connect with the curve, all these farmers, these 3 here, would connect or would be connected to the main field, so the main field would be tight, and therefore it was of utmost importance for blue to put this curve here before getting the monastery and just risk losing out if yellow were to get the last curve. And there were still a few pieces here to block this. Yeah, this works, but only because yellow didn't do anything about this. So in the end, well, I shouldn't have wiped that, and I could have counted. Should be a clear win for yellow then. Yeah, 19 points. Even though blue got the main field to the tune of 21 points, they still are behind by 19. Yeah, tough. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I see I should have a look at the control screen of OBS once in a while. Yeah, at least more or less nobody but you was watching. So, this then means Taiwan manages to defeat Tutejšyja with 3-2. And games, that's bad news for Taiwan. The tiebreaker isn't as great as you would have hoped. So another 3-2 in this group. Apart from Croatia, Latvia, all games, all matches were quite close. This now more or less renders Tutejšyja's and Belgium's chances, well, let's just play around a bit. So let's take the case for the Belgians. They are a strong team. Let's check if they'd win 2 lopsided matches here. They could overtake Croatia or Taiwan. Not both, because one of them would for sure win their match in week 4. And then the question would be whether Tutejšyja would beat Latvia. Let's take this for example. So in that case, the Belgians could still qualify if they'd only win a close game versus Croatia. This really wouldn't help them, and the same quite likely goes if the result of Croatia-Taiwan were flipped. No, in that case, yeah, of course, because the Croatians have a pretty nice tiebreaker due to their 5-0 win in week 1. So, and the same goes for Tutejšyja. They need to win their last 2 games and rather decisively at that, and then hope for Croatia to win versus Taiwan, and no, Belgium wouldn't matter, because once Tutejšyja would win versus Belgium, they wouldn't, well, more or less, yeah, they wouldn't really care about Belgium's game versus Croatia. Yeah, so bottom line, Belgium and Tutejšyja have won both their remaining games to secure playoff spot. Croatia more or less needs only 1 win. Latvia, of course, has to win their 4th match. And I think that covers all 5 teams here. Let's check the calendar for today. Yeah, of course, this isn't refreshed. So what's up there? There's Netherlands, Malaysia in about an hour, covered by both Alexi and Nallerheim. I will be online again for Spain versus Vietnam, although I might not. We'll see. On paper, this should be more or less a lopsided affair for Spain, but that was the case for Argentina versus Vietnam as well, and Argentina lost 2-3. So I'd say Mung should more or less have no chance versus Master Destroyer. Newt is a new player, as the nickname might suggest. So no idea if they would be able to snatch at least a game or maybe even a duel from Estroncio, but I'd severely doubt it. And then we are left with more familiar names from Vietnam, at least familiar from last year, and their first match versus Argentina. If I remember correctly, B and Portgard won their matches, their duels versus Argentina, and they definitely need to win today as well if Vietnam wants to stand any chance versus Spain. And if they do, well, this would look pretty nice for them. I think this was Group F. Because with 2 wins, of course, Vietnam would surge into the top place here even. But for now, let's just be realistic here and expect a Spanish win. And the Spaniards definitely need to win this one after losing versus France and Brazil 2-3. So their first tiebreaker is actually as best as it could be after 2 losses, but their games won, games lost ratio is not that great. So if it comes to that, they might lose out. But for that to be relevant, they'd need to win today versus Vietnam and then in week 4 versus Argentina, and hope all others play so the tiebreaker even matters. Yeah, and I think that more or less covers it. Oh, there's France, Brazil later. Yeah, maybe I'll cover that as well. But that would be more or less spontaneous, as I first have to do what my country needs me to do, and that's beating Mendeleev. So, over and out. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next stream. Bye bye.